Hello there, very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Sirasa, the prime suspect in the murder of Ganemulla Sanjeeva, arrested in Nepal. Police confirm she will be brought back to Sri Lanka tomorrow. Bas Lalit arrested in Dubai. No change in electricity tariffs. Power sector trade unions end strike. Shashindra Rajapaksa and former Navy Commander Uluge Thanna have been granted bail. Prime Minister meets Chinese President. US President Donald Trump declares the end of war. 20-point peace plan for peace in the Gaza Strip.
On to the top story tonight, police say that Sirasa, the main suspect in the murder of Ganemulla Sanjeeva, along with several other suspects, will be brought back to Sri Lanka tomorrow. Sirasa and 6 others were arrested in Nepal. The arrests were made during a joint special operation conducted by Assistant Superintendent of Police Rohan Olugala and CID Inspector Gihan Chandima in collaboration with the Nepalese security forces.
Kennedy Bastian Pillai, also known as J.K. Bai, a known organized criminal, was the first to be arrested in the Batakpur area of Nepal, according to police. Based on information obtained from him, police were able to apprehend Sirasa. She had been staying in an apartment located about 18 kilometers from Kathmandu, Nepal's capital. The other 4 suspects were arrested at different locations. 2 of the suspects are residents of Gampaha and Nugegoda. Police also confirmed that a couple from Jaffna were among those arrested. The murder of Sanjeeva Kumara Samararatna, also known as Ganemulla Sanjeeva, took place on the 19th of February inside courtroom number 5 of the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court. Investigations revealed that the firearm used in the shooting was provided by suspect Sirasa. She fled the scene with the shooter on the same day. The alleged shooter, Samidu Dilshan, was arrested later that afternoon. Despite extensive search operations across the country, Sirasa remained at large. These operations were carried out with the involvement of the Colombo Crimes Division, the Special Task Force and other security agencies. It was later discovered that Sirasa had fled the country with the assistance of J.K. Bai.
The suspect for whom a red notice was issued was the focus of a highly confidential and meticulously planned investigation by the Sri Lanka police, particularly the Criminal Investigation Department. After months of covert operations, we were able to successfully conclude the mission in collaboration with the Nepalese authorities. One of the suspects who provided shelter to Sirasa has been arrested. Along with him, 4 other suspects and 1 female suspect closely associated with the main suspect have also been taken into custody. Among them, 4 individuals have been identified as key figures involved in drug trafficking and other criminal activities in Gampaha and Colombo. The suspect who sheltered Sirasa is a resident of Jaffna. We believe that following his extradition to Sri Lanka, we will be able to proceed with further investigations.
5
organized criminals, including Kehelbadra Padme, were arrested in Indonesia with the support of ASPs Roshan Olugala and Mahinda Jayasundara. The arrests took place on the 27th of August at a luxury apartment complex in Ibon Jeruk, West Jakarta. The suspects include Kehelbadra Padme, Panudurani Langa, Commando Salinta, Bako Saman and Tambili Lahiru. ASPs Roshan Olugala and Mahinda Jayasundara led a covert and challenging operation in Indonesia starting from the 23rd of August, which ultimately led to the successful apprehension of the suspects. Lalit Kannangara, also known as Bas Lalit, a suspected member of a notorious criminal syndicate, has been arrested in Dubai following a coordinated special operation. The arrest was the result of a joint effort involving the State Intelligence Service, the Criminal Investigation Department and the Central Crime Investigation Bureau, who worked in unison to track down and apprehend the fugitive overseas. Kannangara is wanted in connection with multiple serious crimes including killings, kidnappings and other organized criminal activities.
So far this year, assets worth 730 million rupees belonging to organized criminals have been seized and deactivated. Police spokesperson, Assistant Superintendent of Police F.U. Bootler stated that the seized assets include 354 pounds of gold, 72 vehicles, 35 houses, 37 acres of land and 670 million rupees in cash.
2021 වසරේ සිට 2024 වර්ෂය දක්වා
From 2021 to 2024, the Sri Lanka police has taken steps to seize assets worth 39.2 billion rupees from organized criminals. In 2025 alone, assets worth 730 million rupees have already been seized for state acquisition. These include 354 pounds of gold, 72 vehicles, 35 houses, 37 acres of land and 670 million rupees in illicit cash. As part of our broader crackdown, we have questioned 5.7 million citizens across the country. From these investigations, 4,082 suspects linked to various crimes have been taken into custody. Between the 1st January and yesterday, we have also seized 56 T-56 assault rifles, 69 pistols, 50 revolvers, a total of 1,996 firearms.
ගැනීමට ඒ වගේම රිවෝල්වර් අවි 50ක් සහ සමස්ත ගිනිඅවි 1996ක් 2025 වසරේ අද දින දක්වා පොලිස් පාරේට ගැනීමට අපිට හැකියාව ලැබිලා තියෙනවා.
A large consignment of suspected narcotics discovered floating in the southern seas is currently being transported to the Tangol Fisheries Harbour. This is according to the Sri Lankan Navy.
Navy spokesperson Commander Buddhika Sampath said that a total of 50 parcels suspected to contain narcotics were recovered while drifting in the southern waters. The discovery was made during a naval operation and further search and surveillance missions are ongoing in the southern maritime region using naval vessels and craft.
Cabinet has approved a proposal presented by the President to establish a National Operations Council aimed at eradicating the drug menace from the country.
The spread of dangerous drugs has become a national crisis in our country. Observations show that many crimes are rooted in drug trafficking. It has been recognized that a national level program is essential to eliminate this threat, involving strong political leadership, an effective decision making mechanism and broad public participation. Accordingly, a comprehensive national operation is being planned. Under this program, a wide-reaching awareness campaign will be launched to educate the public about the dangers of drugs, dismantle trafficking networks, strengthen rehabilitation opportunities and provide support for those willing to quit drug use. As such, the Cabinet has approved the President's proposal to launch this urgent and high-priority national initiative and to establish a National Operations Council to oversee its implementation.
ඒ අනුව මෙම ජාතික මෙහෙයුම හදිසි හා කඩනම් ජාතික වැඩසටහන ලෙස ආරම්භ කිරීමට සහ ඒ සඳහා ජාතික මෙහෙයුම් සභාවක් ස්ථාපිත කිරීමට ගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කළ යෝජනාවට අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලය අනුමැතිය ලබා දුන්නා.
President Anura Kumar Dissanayake has revealed that certain state institutions have been found to be providing support to organized crime groups and criminal networks.
The President made these remarks while addressing the Ratnapura District Special Coordination Committee meeting held at the District Secretariat Auditorium.
Crime has become a national crisis, one that is deeply rooted in the drug trade and the breakdown of law and order. Shockingly, some state institutions are entirely under the influence of organized crime and drug money. There are reports of state agencies manufacturing number plates for armed criminal gangs, even producing multiple passports for individuals. In one case, a criminal needed to provide fingerprints for a passport. Instead of appearing in person, a bookseller from the Peta bus stand was sent in his place. The system accepted the photo, scanned it and processed the fingerprints without question. Some officials within these institutions have become facilitators of criminal activity. Weapons from military camps have made their way into the hands of criminals. Even within the police, certain individuals have been complicit. This cannot continue. We must dismantle this system. As the political leadership, we have a clear objective. The people of this country have expectations and our mission is to fulfill them. You, the officials, are the critical middle layer in making this a success.
The President also addressed the need for responsible use of state resources and emphasized the importance of restructuring government operations to ensure efficiency and accountability.
We have constructed massive government buildings, many of which remain underutilized. If we had a proper policy in place, we would not be building new government offices, except in essential sectors like education and healthcare, where such infrastructure is genuinely needed. For all other areas, construction should be limited to what is absolutely necessary. In fact, even this meeting could have been held at a hotel outside the Higher Education Ministry premises at a lower cost. It would have been more economical than maintaining this space monthly. Some local councils are attempting to run supermarkets, but let's be honest, every single supermarket run by local councils in Sri Lanka has failed. The private sector manages such ventures far more efficiently. We've also reviewed the state of government guest houses. Many of them are operating at a loss. Some have rooms reserved exclusively for ministers, which are only opened when they visit. Others have rooms set aside for director generals, again used only during their visits. Meanwhile, the same officials often stay at nearby hotels while the government continues to maintain these guest houses. This is a significant burden on public resources. We have compiled a comprehensive report on all such facilities. These guest houses should be developed and handed over to the private sector, where they can be transformed into viable business ventures. We simply cannot afford to waste public funds, nor do we have the desire to. We are committed to maintaining strong fiscal discipline. We have allocated 110 billion rupees for salary increases in 2025. The same amount will be allocated again in 2026 and once more in 2027. By 2027, we will need a total of 330 billion rupees to meet the increased salary commitments. We have decided to implement these salary increases in 3 phases because we are committed to building a strong and efficient public service.
මේ මූලික වැටුප අධීර තුනකින් වැඩි කරන්න තීරණය කරේ අපේ ශක්තිමත් රාජ්‍යසේවයක් වුණා.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka announced that there will be no revision to electricity tariffs for the next 3 months. This was announced by PUCSL Chairman Professor KPL Chandralal during a media briefing held this morning.
The purpose of this conference is to make the official announcement regarding the tariff decision related to the final quarter of the year. So the Commission summoned yesterday evening and we made the unanimous decision related to the tariff decision for the final quarter of the 2025 year. So we have to make a very sensible and realistic decision that affects the entire economy and all the sectors. So based on all the factors considered by the Commission and also based on the feedback and the suggestions received from this stakeholder consultation process, so this time the Commission decided not to increase the tariff as suggested by the CEB. So we decided to keep the present tariff and continue with the tariff for the next 3 months.
දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් 2024 ජනවාරි මාසයට සාපේක්ෂව
Compared to January 2024, electricity bills were reduced by 21.9% in February 2024 and again by 22.5% in July 2024. Additionally, in January this year, there was another 20% reduction. Although there was a 15% increase in June 2025, the overall electricity bill today is still 44.3% lower than it was in January 2024.
සාපේක්ෂව අද තියෙන විදුලි බිල 144.3කින් අඩුයි.
Trade unions of the Ceylon Electricity Board announced that they will end their ongoing trade union action following agreements reached with the Minister of Power.
We have reached a clear understanding through these discussions. While not all our demands were immediately met, we were sure that the restructuring process will be carried out transparently and with our input. Out of the 24 demands we submitted, we received satisfactory responses to a significant number. The Minister also gave a written assurance that our concerns will be addressed, and we have now received that document. As a result, we have decided to officially call off our trade union action and extend our cooperation to the restructuring process and future developments. However, we will only engage with the existing boards of directors of the CEB and not with the restructuring office, which we believe is responsible for creating this crisis. We will not participate participate in any discussions or meetings organized by that office until a proper restructuring framework is in place.
මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඇති කරපු ප්‍රතිෝගත කරන කාර්යාලය සමග සාකච්ඡා සහ ඒ සම්බන්ධ රැස්වීම් වලට අපි කිසි දෙයකටත් ඉදිරියටත් සහභාගී නොවී ඉන්න තීරණය කළා තියෙනවා ප්‍රතිෝගත කරන කාර්යාලයේ අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රතිෝගතකරණය වෙනකම්. අද දවසේ අපි
As of today, we are ending our trade union action. If any inconvenience was caused to the public during this period, we sincerely apologize. Our unions do not believe in achieving demands by causing hardship to the people. Our goal has always been to resolve issues through dialogue and responsibility.
Newsfirst with the people.
Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Sri Lankan Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. The meeting took place on the sidelines of the Global Leaders Meeting on Women, where Prime Minister Amarasuriya is representing Sri Lanka.
Chinese President Xi Jinping welcomed the Prime Minister and reaffirmed the long-standing traditional friendship between China and Sri Lanka, emphasizing that the two nations have consistently built their relationship on the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. He noted that China always regards Sri Lanka as a priority in its neighborhood diplomacy and stands ready to work with Sri Lanka to carry forward the traditional friendship, expand mutually beneficial cooperation and jointly build a China-Sri Lanka community with a shared future to better benefit the peoples of both countries. President Xi reiterated China's support for Sri Lanka's efforts to safeguard its sovereignty, independence and territorial integrity and to pursue a development path aligned with its national conditions. He pledged China's continued assistance in economic development, particularly through high-quality belt and road cooperation. President Xi also stressed the importance of joint efforts to combat cross-border crimes such as gambling and fraud and called for enhanced coordination within multilateral frameworks like the United Nations. He emphasized the need to promote an equal and orderly multipolar world and a universally beneficial and inclusive globalization, safeguarding the common interests of the global south. Prime Minister Amarasuriya conveyed sincere greetings from President Anurukumara Dissanayake to President Xi. She said that Sri Lanka highly values its relations with China, firmly adheres to the One China policy and actively supports and participates in high-quality belt and road cooperation. She had thanked China for its valuable support for Sri Lanka's economic and social development and expressed her hopes to learn from the experience of Chinese modernization and further enhance cooperation with China to achieve new development for Sri Lanka.
Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Santosh Shah met with Janatha Vimukthi Peravuna General Secretary Tilwin Silva for a cordial discussion on the evolving dynamics of the India-Sri Lanka partnership. The meeting held in Colombo focused on recent developments in bilateral relations, with both sides exchanging views on the vast potential for closer economic cooperation. The High Commission said on social media that they exchanged views on the limitless potential of closer economic ties for mutual prosperity of the people of India and Sri Lanka. Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijay Hera met with Indra Mani Pandey, Secretary General of the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. The meeting reviewed the progress of ongoing BIMSTEC initiatives and explored new avenues to strengthen collaboration among member states. Minister Hera reaffirmed Sri Lanka's commitment to leveraging science, technology and innovation to drive regional prosperity and resilience.
Case file.
Kurunegala High Court Judge Tikiri Jayathilaka ordered to release on bail former Navy Commander Nishant Ulugeithanna and former Director of Naval Intelligence Sarath Mohotike.
The two were previously remanded in connection with an investigation into the abduction and murder of a man in the Pothuhara area in 2010. The court delivered its decision after considering a bail application submitted by the legal counsel. The judge ordered that both individuals be released on cash bails of 50,000 rupees each and 2 personal sureties of 1 million rupees each. They have also been barred from foreign travel until the conclusion of the trial.
Case file.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanga S. Bodragama ordered the release of former State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa on bail. The court directed that he be released on a cash bail of 50,000 rupees and 3 personal sureties of 2 million rupees each. While granting bail, the magistrate also imposed a foreign travel ban on the suspect and ordered that his passport be surrendered to the court. The magistrate stated that the decision was made after considering medical reports submitted regarding the suspect's health condition, the duration of his remand custody and submissions by officials indicating that the investigation is in its final stages. Shashindra Rajapaksa had been in remand custody for over 70 days. He was arrested by the Bribery Commission on the 6th August in connection with an incident during the recent public uprising where he allegedly pressured officials of the Sri Lanka Mahavadi Authority to claim 8.85 million rupees in compensation for a building and property illegally constructed on state land in the Sevanagala area that was later destroyed during the unrest.
I believe the law of this country will treat me fairly. That is my hope and my trust. My house was set on fire and I was imprisoned. Those who wanted this may be satisfied now, but I believe justice will prevail.
නීතියේ සාධාරණත්වය මට ලැබෙයි කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. නෑ මොකක් වුණත් මට කමන්නේ නෑ. මම ජීවිතේ ලබන්න පුළුවන් ලොකුම අත්දැකීම ලැබුවා. ඒක මම හිතනවා මට හයියක් වෙයි දේශපාලන ඉදිරියට කරන්න කියලා. එච්චරයි.
Case file.
The anticipatory bail application filed by former Minister Manusha Nanayakkara seeking to prevent his arrest by the Bribery Commission was rejected today. Colombo Chief Magistrate Asanges Bodragama stated that the court was not satisfied with the reasons presented, which claimed that the Bribery Commission was attempting to arrest him with malicious intent. At that point, Attorney-at-Law Asthvika Devendra, appearing for Manusha Nanayakkara, informed the court that Nanayakkara would appear before the Bribery Commission tomorrow to provide a statement. Manusha Nanayakkara sought anticipatory bail as he believed there was a plan to maliciously arrest him in connection with the investigation into an irregularity that occurred in sending workers to Israel for jobs in the agricultural sector.
Hamas freed the last living Israeli hostages from Gaza on Monday under a ceasefire deal, and Israeli sent home busloads of Palestinian detainees as US President Donald Trump declared the end of the two-year-long war that has upended the broader Middle East.
Trump convened Muslim and European leaders in Egypt to discuss the future of the Gaza Strip and the possibility of a wider regional peace, even as Hamas and Israel, both absent from the gathering, are yet to agree on the next steps. The US, along with Egypt, Qatar and Turkey, mediated what has been described as a first-phase agreement between Israel and Hamas for a ceasefire and the release of hostages by Hamas and prisoners and detainees by Israel. At the Egyptian beach resort of Sharm el-Sheikh later on Monday, Trump and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi hosted more than 20 world leaders for a summit intended to cement the truce. At the opening of the summit, Trump signed a document with Egypt, Qatar and Turkey's leaders, welcoming the agreements on Gaza and pledging to work collectively to implement and sustain this legacy.
The hostages, as you know, were let go on time, on schedule. The very sad situation of bodies, which was always a sad situation, and they're being sought out, and they're working with many different people, finding some were brought in and some were not, and they're working out to find out where those bodies are. It's hard to believe that you even have to say something like that. It's so sad. It's so sad. But what's not sad is that we have finally, after, I guess they say 3,000 years, I've heard from 3,000 years to 500 years, but whatever it is, it's a lot. But this was the one, this was the granddaddy of them all. This is an incredible day for the world, let alone the Middle East. So I just wanted to thank the media. They really treated it with respect. I wish you could be like that on other things, but that's perhaps too much to ask for. But on this, tremendous, everybody feels the same. Just tremendous respect, and we appreciate it very much.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the US President also shared a few words following the signing ceremony. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi also announced that Egypt will decorate US President Donald Trump with the order, the highest state honor among Egyptian decorations.
فلتكن حرب غزة آخر الحروب Excellency President, let Gaza war be the last of wars in the Middle East. The Palestinian people is not an exception. They too have the right to self-determination and to aspire for a future where war doesn't loom over, own the right to enjoy freedom and to live in their independent state, a state that lives side by side with Israel in peace, security and mutual recognition. Peace is not only crafted by governments, but also built by peoples when they realize that yesterday's rivals could be tomorrow's partners. I avail this opportunity to appeal to the Israeli people. I say, let us turn this historic moment into a new beginning of justice and peaceful coexistence prevalent life. Allow us to look forward together to a better future for the sons of our nations. Together, stretch out our hands for our cooperation towards a just and durable peace for the entire regional populations.
This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. After years of suffering and bloodshed, the war in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food, medical equipment, and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room. Civilians are returning to their homes. The hostages are reuniting. I mean, it's beautiful. A new and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part, because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world. And I'm deeply honored to receive from you, Egypt's highest state honor, the Order of the Nile. The Nile is so beautiful, so magnificent. It's such a beautiful title, the Order of the Nile. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
The signing came after Hamas returned the 20 remaining living hostages in Gaza to Israel and handed over the remains of 4 dead hostages. 250 Palestinian prisoners and over 1,700 detainees from Gaza, held by Israel for 2 years without charge, have now been released. The free hostages tearfully reunited with their families in hospitals across Israel, while released Palestinian prisoners embraced relatives in the West Bank and detainees arrived in buses to large crowds in Gaza.
Madagascar's embattled president has issued a decree dissolving the National Assembly as he bids to avert a slide from power.
Madagascar's embattled President Rajoelina, who has fled the country, issued the decree on social media on Tuesday ahead of a planned impeachment vote. However, with parts of the military and the police offering support to mass protests calling for his resignation, his efforts to cling to power threaten to send the island nation's political crisis spiraling into chaos. The presidency said in a statement published on Facebook, the decree to dissolve the assembly shall enter into force immediately upon its publication by radio and or television broadcast. Rajoelina, whose current whereabouts are unknown, defended the move in a separate social media post as necessary to restore order in nation and strengthen democracy. But the opposition leader, who had been planning a vote to impeach Rajoelina today, said the decree was not legally valid because the President of the National Assembly was not consulted over the move.
Adani Enterprises, through its joint venture company Adani Connects and Google, announced a landmark partnership to develop India's largest AI data center campus and new green energy infrastructure in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh.
Google and Adani Enterprises, through their joint venture Adani Connects, unveiled plans to develop India's largest AI data center campus in Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. The project marks a transformative moment in India's digital infrastructure and clean energy ambitions. The initiative, part of a multifaceted $15 billion investment by Google over 5 years, will include gigawatt-scale data center operations, a robust subsea cable network and green energy infrastructure to power advanced AI workloads across across the country. The project is being developed in collaboration with ecosystem partners including Adani Connex and Airtel. The foundational pillars of the Google AI Hub developed in collaboration with Adani Connex include purpose-built AI data center infrastructure in Visakhapatnam that will add significant compute capacity to help pioneer a shift in India's AI capabilities. The project is expected to create tens of thousands of jobs across technology, construction and clean energy sectors while driving digital inclusivity and positioning Visakhapatnam as a global AI and connectivity gateway.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposits. Valuable FD 10.25% for 15 months, 11% for 24 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
Today became a beautiful day for yet another village in the eastern province thanks to Gammadda. A long-held dream, once just a distant hope, was finally fulfilled. The villagers, together with their children, celebrated this moment of joy in the most heartfelt way.
For years, the lack of clean drinking water cast a shadow over both the school and the village. But hope, as it often does, arrived quietly and powerfully. Led by the school principal and supported by 14 devoted teachers, a heartfelt request was made for a drinking water system. That call was answered by Gammadda with the blessings of the Mahasangha, and in a moment filled with grace and gratitude, the water system was handed over to the people, a gift of life, dignity and renewal. This life-changing project was made possible through the generous contribution of Chitra De Silva, the owner of Oasis Plants and Seeds Exporters. She dedicated this act of kindness in loving memory of her late parents and brother, a tribute that now flows through every drop of water in this village. The Sri Lanka Navy constructed the system on the school grounds. The ceremonial handover was graced by Trincomalee District Secretary Hemantha Kumara, Newsfirst Assistant Manager Nagalingam Jagannath Khanna, Gammadda V4's National Organizer Gihan Udyoga and a host of government officials. Also present were W.N. Bandara, Assistant Zonal Director of Education for Trincomalee North, and SWRB Joyampathy, Acting OIC of Moravava Police. I watch the Gammadda program every day and I wanted to do something like that for our people. I really admire what you do here. I can't do all of this alone, so I decided to get together with you and do something for the people. I did this in memory of my parents and my brother. I thank you for giving me such an opportunity.
We would like to remind these children that this is a valuable asset that you have now. This is something that will not only benefit you, but the 250 families that live in this village. Everyone can get clean drinking water from here and consume it without any fear. All of you can come to school and get clean water. When we get something like this, I believe that it is our responsibility and the responsibility of everyone who uses this is to protect it and maintain this properly. Just as you benefit from this, you must ensure that future generations can also enjoy the same benefits.
In a touching gesture, nutrition packs were also distributed to expectant mothers, ensuring that the gift of care extended beyond the classroom. It wasn't just the children who smiled. Parents, elders, and the entire community rejoiced, for they knew this was more than a water system. It was a symbol of unity, compassion, and a future rewritten.
The member states of WHO Southeast Asia region adopted the Colombo Declaration on Healthy Aging through strengthened primary health care aimed at health and well-being of its aging population, expected to double by 2050. A media briefing in line with the 78th session of the WHO Regional Committee for Southeast Asia was held in Colombo.
The Sri Lankan media community gathered in Colombo today for a briefing on the ongoing discussions at the 78th WHO Regional Committee for Southeast Asia.
We just concluded a ministerial roundtable and adopted the Colombo Declaration for Healthy Aging through Strengthened Primary Care. So, this again, once again, is thanks to the historic foresight of Sri Lanka in making this an important topic. Because we expect to see a doubling of the aging population in WHO Southeast Asia by 2050. By then, 1 in 5 people in the region will be over 60 years of age.
Health Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa emphasized that Sri Lanka remains committed to strengthening its primary healthcare system.
With all countries of the region, the government of Sri Lanka is committed to improve health and well-being of the people. Sri Lanka is also making all efforts to strengthen our primary healthcare system through the Primary Healthcare System Enhancing Project. This initiative aims to upgrade over 1,000 primary healthcare institutions, introduce cluster-based care models, and improve integration of services for mental health, older care, palliative care, and rehabilitation at the primary care level. We also want to expand screening services for non-communicable diseases as we have increasing burden of obesity, hypertension, and diabetes that cause heart attacks and stroke. We want to expand the use of digital technology to improve information and health services access for the people to reduce burden on our tertiary and secondary care hospitals. Our goal is to make primary care the first point of contact for all Sri Lankans, promoting people-centered preventive care while improving health services at the primary and secondary care levels. This will reduce the burden and cost of care in large tertiary hospitals.
A discussion on the topic cleft coverage, strengthening anesthesia and surgery for children in Southeast Asian region was held in Colombo yesterday.
The 78th session of the WHO Regional Committee for Southeast Asia, the Sri Lankan Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the World Federation of Societies of Anesthesiologists and Smile Train, co-hosted an official side event titled Cleft to Coverage, Strengthening Anesthesia and Surgery for Children in the Southeast Asian region in Colombo. WFSA Council member Dr. Kumudini Ranatunga shared her views on the event.
In a region that is home to nearly 1/4 of the world's children, access to safe and timely pediatric anesthesia and surgical care remains a critical gap in our journey toward universal health coverage. These gaps are not only clinical, they are systemic, shaped by workforce shortages, limited training in pediatric anesthesia and surgery, and fragmented health systems. But today, we focus on solutions. We spotlight cleft lip and palate care not only as a clinical priority, but as a strategic entry point for strengthening integrated emergency, critical, and operative services. Programs like those supported by Smile Train show us what's possible when national commitment meets global partnerships, leading to expanded access, empowered providers, and resilient systems that serve children better.
The event also featured a panel discussion featuring several prominent speakers.
One important point. Birth asphyxia still remains the second most important cause, though we have been able to control deaths due to infections, pneumonia, diarrhea, we have been able to control. Trauma, one of the leading causes now emerging. So as your easily preventable causes we are able to control, it's your other causes, they start contributing more to the mortality burden. The region has been very successful in reducing. In fact, over the last 1 decade, Southeast Asia region has achieved the highest reduction in maternal newborn child mortality among all the WHO regions. Secondly, the aim is not only to ensure survival. There is a global strategy which outlines that the aim is to ensure the agenda of survive, thrive and transform. That not only survival, but each child is able to reach its full potential and leaving no one behind. And the third is the reinvigorated focus on primary health care. Now, primary health care is the best platform to achieve universal health coverage. And I think the success story that we are seeing in Sri Lanka is all the result of its successful focus on primary health care as an approach to achieve UHC.
The event served as an opportunity to explore approaches to strengthening national pediatric anesthesia and anesthesia services, hear from regional leaders, clinicians and smile train and network with policymakers and partners driving progress toward universal health coverage.
The Cabinet has granted approval for the importation of GR11 variety of Ponni Samba rice as a temporary substitute for Kiri Samba rice. This is in response to a growing shortage in the domestic market and concerns over price hikes beyond the government's controlled price.
Due to the current shortage of Kiri Samba rice in the local market and concerns over it being sold at prices exceeding the government's controlled rate, the Cabinet has approved a proposal to allow the importation of GR11 Ponni Samba rice as a substitute. Based on the recommendation of the Food Policy and Safety Committee and with the joint proposal submitted by the Minister of Agriculture, Livestock, Lands and Irrigation and the Minister of Trade, Commerce, Food Security and Cooperative Development, the Cabinet has granted approval to exempt importers from the requirement of obtaining an import control license for this specific rice variety. This exemption will be valid from the 15th October 2025 to the 15th November 2025 and will allow each importer to bring up to 520 metric tons of GR11 Ponni Samba rice.
වෙළඳ වාණිජ හා ආහාර සුරක්ෂිතතා සහ සම්ප්‍රදාය සංගමන මතුමත් ඉදිරිපත් කළ යෝජනාවට කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලය අනුමැතිය ලබා දුන්නා.
3 people, including a Sri Lankan national, have been arrested at the Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru, India for the possession of hydroganja and psilocybin mushrooms. The 2 other arrested suspects are Indian nationals.
Indian media reported that 45.4 kilograms of hydrocannabis and 6 kilograms of psilocybin mushrooms were seized from the 3 suspects, which included a Sri Lankan national. Kempegowda International Airport in Bengaluru has been alerted that hydrocannabis and psilocybin mushrooms are being smuggled from Thailand by air. Accordingly, during the raid, authorities interrogated 2 Indians, Yusuf and Shahul, who had arrived from Colombo, Sri Lanka on the 9th. Indian authorities seized 31.4 kilograms of hydrocannabis and 4 kilograms of psilocybin mushrooms from the 2 Indian nationals. Later, based on information provided by them, authorities seized 14 kilograms of hydroganja and 2 kilograms of psilocybin mushrooms from a Sri Lankan national. Investigations revealed that the suspect had transported the drugs in approximately 250 tins.
Minister of Plantation and Community Infrastructure Samantha Vityaratna said that plantation companies have been given until the 25th of this month to announce their stance on the proposed salary increase. The minister made these remarks while speaking to the media in Badulla today following the discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday.
We decided that the owners of the plantation companies, the Ministry of Labour and the Ministry of Plantations along with the President should hold a discussion. So that discussion took place at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. and it was chaired by the President. The government's stance is that a salary of 1,700 rupees must be paid without fail. During the discussion, we talked about the issues and losses faced by the plantation companies. However, as a government, we emphasized the strong need to pay the 1,700 rupees salary since a wage of 1,350 rupees for an estate worker is not sufficient. Yesterday, the President also stressed that the salary should be increased to 1,700 rupees. The plantation companies agreed to give their final decision on the matter by the 25th of this month. That is how the discussion concluded. We will definitely ensure that the estate workers' salary is increased to 1,700 rupees under the leadership of our President, Anurakumara Disanayaka, within this year.
Expo Leisure achieved a remarkable milestone at the World Travel Awards 2025, becoming one of the first Sri Lankan companies to secure top honours in both inbound and outbound travel categories.
Classic Travel was named Sri Lanka's leading travel agency 2025, while Classic Destinations won Sri Lanka's leading destination management company 2025 at the prestigious ceremony held in Hong Kong. Accepting the awards on behalf of the company, Sabri Bahuddin, Chief Commercial Officer and Director of the Expo Leisure Cluster, said, quote-unquote, "These awards reaffirm our commitment to delivering exceptional travel experiences and strengthening Sri Lanka's position as a premier travel hub."
Sri Lanka took on New Zealand in the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium today. Winning the toss and opting to bat first, Sri Lanka posted a total of 258 runs for the loss of 6 wickets, setting a target of 259 runs for New Zealand. However, the match was abandoned due to rain before New Zealand began their chase.
Chamari Athapaththu won the toss and opted to bat first. Chamari Athapaththu and Vishmi Gunaratne opened for Sri Lanka. The first wicket partnership was 101 runs. Chamari was dismissed for 53 runs after recording her 20th ODI half-century.
In Colombo, when her team needed her for the 20th half-century in ODIs.
Vishmi Gunaratne scored 42 runs. Harshita Samaravikrama and Hasini Pereira put on a 58-run partnership for the third wicket. Harshita scored 26 runs. Hasini Pereira put on 44 runs with 6 fours. Nilakshi De Silva played a quick innings in the final few overs, scoring an unbeaten 55 runs off 28 balls. This marked her 4th half-century in ODI cricket.
To the gap it goes! The fastest 50 in this tournament!
At the end of their allotted 50 overs, Sri Lanka were 258 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. All matches are being broadcast live on TV1, the official local broadcasting rights holder of the 2025 ICC Women's Cricket World Cup, and streamed online via www.sirasatv.lk.
On beautiful Sri Lanka tonight, we travel to Handapan Villua.
Fed by the life-giving waters of the majestic Mahavali River, the Handapan Villua is one of Sri Lanka's most breathtaking and ecologically rich wetland ecosystems. Nestled in the heart of Polonnaruwa, this serene expanse of shimmering water and lush greenery is a haven for bird life, a true paradise for bird watchers and nature lovers alike. At one end of the Villu lies Duvigala, a site steeped in history stretching back to the era of King Lajjatissa. Adding to its mystique, Duvigala is home to Sri Lanka's only rock inscription bearing the symbol of an anchor, a rare and remarkable relic etched into stone, silently guarding centuries of heritage. With its blend of archaeological significance and natural splendor, it forms one of Sri Lanka's most captivating and soulful travel destinations, a place where history, nature, and serenity converge in perfect harmony.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.